Oh yeah, what's up? Conservative media viewers, it's me, John D. Villarreal, the four-time national champion and the super genius and the MMA expert. And I've got Paul at Villarreal, the NBA expert here on the line. And we're reacting to this big UFC 195 fight for the UFC welterweight championship of the world, held by Robby Lawler versus Carlos Condit. Now, Paul, this was an explosive fight. It went the whole 5 rounds, and some people perhaps may be talking about there could be some controversy here in terms of the decision. But, I mean, honestly, I can see how this went down, okay? I mean, listen, Carlos Condit is awesome, and he can hit you from all kinds of different angles. He was playing a stick and move game. He was playing angles. I'm not saying he's a point fighter because I don't see Carlos Condit that way. I think he can pick you apart and really make you look bad with all kinds of different varied offense. I love Carlos Condit, but at the same time, what is Robby Lawler's name? Ruthless Robby Lawler. And why do they say that? Because he can knock you out with one punch and come back, and he can just take the damage and just blow away through you like he did in that 5th round in terms of turning it on and just walking through Carlos Condit. So at the end of the fight, you have to say to yourself, hey, who would you rather have been? There's different ways to look at it. On the one hand, you can say, who would you rather have been? Who put out the most damage? I mean, that 5th round was very devastating for Robby Lawler, and it really put some damage on Condit. Condit was trying to fight back, but he was absorbing a lot of shots, and Lawler was showing that he has a different gear. On the other hand, if you go round by round, there's people out there, including one of the judges, that feel like Condit won 3 rounds. So, Paul, I mean, what do you have to say about this? Because I know a lot of people in the MMA world are going to be talking about it right now, and we'll do it right here.
Yeah, look, there's a lot of people very upset about this. There's definitely some controversy brewing. There's people that feel like Carlos Condit got robbed, and it's just what you said. I think most people have this fight as a 3 rounds to 2 fight. I did see one score somewhere online that was like 4 rounds to 1 for Condit, but I agree with you. A lot of people are seeing this as Robby Lawler winning rounds 2 and round 5 big, and Carlos Condit winning rounds 1, 3, and 4. As you said, it comes down a lot of what do you like, what do you want. Was Lawler more aggressive in the minds of the judges in one of those rounds that it looked like Carlos Condit won? But I don't know. There's a whole bunch of talk. I'm seeing all kinds of chatter on the internet right now. People are talking all kinds of things and robbery, and Robby Lawler got gifted the decision, but who knows? They might have to even do it again.
Well, first of all, let's put a couple things on squash in our opinion. First of all of our personal opinion only, not alleging any facts, not casting any aspersions, all for entertainment purposes only. Please check the disclaimers. But here's the thing. If you want to talk about a quote-unquote, as some people might allege out there, a robbery, this judging, I think, was right on line in terms of this.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, this was about as close of a decision, really, that you could win if you're Robby Lawler the champion. Now, Robby Lawler is the champion, and a lot of people say you have to really beat the champion to get the belt. So here's a situation where Robby won a split decision, 48-47, okay, basically 3 rounds to 2. That's as close as you can come, and he is the champion. So I think we have to start with that, number 1. Number 2, okay, again, there's different ways to look at a fight. The way I like to look at a fight, I look at it both ways, right? It's almost like stock markets, technical and fundamental analysis. But I like to look at a fight both ways. But primarily my first point is who won the fight to me was who would I rather have been, who did the most damage. At the end of the fight, who do I feel like I'd rather be that person, okay? And in this fight, you kind of say that Robby Lawler was putting it on, number 1. And we're going to get back to that. I'm going to hold that. Because let me get to number 3 real quick, which I think could even be number 2. The only person to blame here for Carlos Condit, in my opinion, is Carlos Condit. You have to know, if you know anything, okay, back to the Steve Smith fights, back to the Strikeforce days, back to all that type of stuff, Robby Lawler is always dangerous. Robby Lawler can be almost knocked out and still one punch dangerous. Robby Lawler, who would have thought that Robby Lawler is just going to lay down in that last round? Okay, look what he's done to all these other, people. How he's just exposed them. And with one punch or 1 round or this and that, whatever. Robby Lawler was going to come out hard that 5th round. That's why he's ruthless Robby Lawler. And Carlos Condit, now maybe he tried, maybe he couldn't do anything. But you needed a different game plan rather than sit there and trade with Robby Lawler. Take him down, run away, whatever. Okay, if you're going to do that. But I mean, I think that Carlos got a little too comfortable there, and Robby took advantage of that. Now, getting back to that second point, it's like, again, it is an MMA sporting contest. There are rounds that are scored a certain way, but again, how do you, within that round, how do you, sometimes there is this big sort of divergence between, who won the fight using one way in terms of, who basically did more damage, who would have rather been, and who, won the rounds, because maybe you did all that damage in one round or whatever. It's a 5-round fight. But within that round, within the rounds, you can see things different ways too. Is someone, yes, they're landing, a little slap kick, but they're just running away. It's a slap kick versus someone that maybe lands half as many punches or kicks, but they're very devastating and whatever. So, there's different ways to see things. I think this is a very reasonable decision, honestly, in my opinion. But Paul, I know a lot of people are talking about this. I mean, what do you think about this, number one? And number two, what do you think happens now? Do we see a rematch? Where's Condit go from here? Where's Lawler go from here? I mean, now, the last thing I'll say is, in my opinion, and again, I'm not alleging anything. I'm just a totally different thing, taking an analysis of it. Lawler's clearly a more marketable fighter because you always know Robby is going to be in a war. Robby's going to be in an exciting match. He's had great fights and stuff like that. I'm not saying Carlos Condit isn't exciting, but if I had to pick one of the two of those as a promoter, I'm picking Lawler. Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think what you said makes a lot of sense, which is it was a close fight. It was scored as a close fight, so when you get a fight that close, it's hard to think that it's a quote-unquote robbery. Right. A lot of people are already saying that this was a classic fight. There was a war, so it was entertaining. If you're Carlos Condit, obviously you're going to want a rematch. I mean, I don't think there's any way around that. Robby Lawler isn't ducking anybody, so maybe they just do it again. It was an entertaining fight, so that could be the best way to solve it. But as you said, this was as close as it possibly could have been without Robby Lawler losing the belt. So, I think that has to. I think you definitely would give Lawler at least 2 reps. So it's hard to see how it's a big robbery, even though I do understand how a lot of people would feel that Carlos Condit won 3 rounds. But look, it was a good night. We saw Miocic versus Arlovsky. That was obviously a more definitive ending. But let's see what Dana and the UFC has to say.
Absolutely, I'd love to see it again. And again, now, going back, this is what you have to love about Robby Lawler, is a couple things. One, there are holes in the game. Now, there's holes in everybody's game, but some more than others. There are holes in Robby's game and stuff like that, but there's also these incredibly strong strengths. And so that's why, almost anything can happen in a Robby Lawler fight. Some bombs are going to be dropped by someone, somehow, somewhere, and someone's probably going to get hurt. Okay, that's number one. Number two, with Lawler, what you gotta love about Lawler is he's not going to do the lay and pray, the point find this and that, whatever. He's going out there to win and do something. Maybe he had a little bit of an off night. Maybe he wasn't prepared for Condit. Maybe he took him a little lightly. I'm not saying that any of that happened. I'm just saying, or maybe it's just a bad matchup or something like that. I mean, sometimes certain people have your number. Sometimes you don't match up well with others. And I'm not taking anything away from Condit. Condit is an incredible fighter and can make a lot of people look bad. He made Nick Diaz, in my opinion, look real bad. Okay, and Nick is a great, is a very, very good fighter. Okay, so what's so great about Lawler is Lawler can just turn it on, dude. And so maybe they're again going into this 5th round like, oh, okay, it's going to be like the last 4. Well, maybe whatever reason, whatever happened, Lawler said, I'm going to make it happen right now. And he made it happen right now. And so in that 5th round. And I think that you have to give him props for that. So I give big respect to Robby Lawler. Carlos Condit, big respect too. And I'd love to see it again because I think it was a great fight. That's where I come down on this. I think it was a valid decision, absolutely, and a fair decision. I can see we see it both ways. But at the end of the day, I kind of agree with the judges because I feel like Lawler, at the end of the fight, had control of it and overall did more damage. But, I mean, you go round by round, I can see where people say that Condit won more rounds. Paul, that's where I come down. What do you think?
Yeah, look, I think that's a reasonable way to come down on it. Everybody's going to have his or her own opinion. I'm interested to hear what the commenters think. What did they think? What did they score the fight? Do they want to see it again? And so on and so forth. But as you said, everybody looks for something different. I like aggressive fighters. That definitely favors Lawler. Condit, he's been through this before. I think he lost to GSP when GSP had the belt. So you got to feel bad for him, but just keep making matches, just keep getting there. He was kind of fortunate he got the fight. I think he lost like 3 out of his last 5 or something like that. So, but he did what he could.
Absolutely. No question about it. What do you guys think about that? Give us the comments below. Let's talk about it in the comments. Who do you think won? Why? How do you score the rounds? What do you want to see for Condit next and Lawler next? Do you want to see the rematch immediately? Tell us where you're at. Give us the comments below. Please subscribe. Please rate this video up. Also, please post it on your social networking sites. Thanks so much for watching. I'm John D. Villarreal, the 4-time national champion and the Super Genius and the MMA Expert. That is Paul at Villarreal, the NBA Expert. You're watching Conservative Media. We'll see you next time.